What up? What up? Bankroll 10. 81 Malibu. You can see how the front is, the way the headlight bezels, and the way the grill is. It's 81. I'll show you the taillights too. Anyways, 24-inch artist wheels. Back ones are 24 by 10, 11 inches overall. No mini tub. Frame notched. Again, this is another one I did not frame notch. I did the alignment on this and adjusted the rear end setup. Built the rear end. This is another one that has a 12 bolt in it. This guy owns two of these things. So what we're gonna do now is, this one has the coilovers go in the top and they bolt to the stock shock location in the top. So I will be taking and putting a cross brace across there, and then lower this thing down some and do a billet trick chassis anti-roll off of that same cross brace. So right now it's got no sway bar set up in the back, no anti-roll, and that's going to help out a ton. Once again, 81. When you see these tail lights with the lines in it like that, and reverse light right there, that's 81. 81 was the last of the 2-door. Then you got the 4 doors, 82, 83, 84. Not exactly sure when that stops. But the tail light, pretty sure. Anytime you guys know that I'm saying something that's not 100, let me know. Put it in the comments. Hey Tim, woo woo, this, that. But them tail lights stayed from 81 up in the 4-door, stayed with that tail light, which is a nice looking tail light, real nice looking tail light. So, but yeah, I'm gonna get this turned around. I cut my grass, right? So this is my hoopty. I was cutting the grass. I got to the end and look, my motherfucking wheel fell off. So anyways, there's a clip that goes on. See how, like, C-clip? I don't know how the hell it fell off. Like, it fell off. There's the groove. So I might be able to just put a snap ring. I think I got a snap ring kit around here. I might be able to just put a snap ring around there. But, so I gotta move this. I cut the grass low too. You know how, what they say, keep your grass cut low, all the snakes, blah blah. But anyways, I'm gonna get the Malibu in there. Anybody know anything about these damn dandelions? They everywhere. But yeah, I cut it low, real low. But I grabbed this gate that used to be back there by the shed, and I wanted to drag the yard, so I hooked the strap to the back of the lawnmower. But before I got back there to get it, the left front wheel had fallen off, and then it fell all the way off when I got over here, so I gotta get a clip on that. But I'll get this thing. I know I'll be getting off subject, but I'm gonna get this thing turned around, get it up on the lift. We got the new pots in the trunk. I'll get the parts. What the deal is, look, there's flies after flies after flies, like all these damn baby flies. I don't know what's up with that shit. This dude probably put something over there to attract them over here. I don't know, that dude got a problem. But yeah, I've been keeping the fan on throughout the night, and it's been helping with the floor not sweating as bad. You can see it's got a little bit of a dark tint to it now. See how the core around the cord is like brighter. So, but yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. I don't have my lights on. I don't got those on. But yeah, we get this, fix this lawn tractor. The chain fell off this side too for the drive. I was in the front ditch and the thing started acting fucked up. I was like, what the fuck? I looked down and the chain was off. So I don't know how the hell that fell off, but it fell off. Yeah, I'm gonna get that out of here. and clean up in here. Probably hit the compressor, blow all this grass out. And then get this Malibu Tay. Oh yeah, as you can see, 12 bolt. It's got my bracing, my signature bracing on the bottom. It's an inch and 5/8 tube. It's curled, bent, whatever. Fully welded down there. I got the tow hooks on there. This one has, of course, Vikings. So you can see how the angle is because it goes to the stock shock location. So that I'll straighten those up a little bit. It's got the double adjustable killer control arms on it. And the aluminum coilover brackets. So I'll get it up in the air. I mean, I know you guys have seen it before, but doing more work to it. Like I said, the quick work. I'm able to do the quick work now, get things in and out, smaller jobs. I'm one man. The big jobs, I mean, like this car, to pull this car in and do a full suspension, frame notch, frame brace, stuff like that. Yeah, I'll still do that. Mini tubs, I'm trying to stay away from mini tubs. I just don't care for it. It's just too much time. And then with taking people's interior out or interiors done, this and that, their sounds, stuff like that, take it out. But I can clear, look at how many G bodies I got out there, and I'm clearing 24s, no mini tub, 24 by 10, 11 inches overall, narrowing rear ends. And then like that Cutlass I just did, the 442, that's got that concave wheel on it, that rear end. I'm 100% sure that rear end is not narrowed. But no mini tubs on that car. Again, the box Chevys, you know, the doing a full tub or doing a mini tub, and you know, yeah, I can do it. It's just too time consuming. So I'm trying to stay away from those. Trying to stay away from the big ass lips and this and that. Again, one person taking care of all this. One income household. You know, family of 5. I'll be taking care of everything. So whatever. The Oklahoma Cutlass, I still got to get that frame all attached in there and start getting everything all braced. Money wise, I really need to get this fence in. So the money I do have put away, this dude was supposed to put the fence in. He didn't put the fence in. He put these cameras up, so I got to get this fence in. And like I said, I got to go to court May 6th, and then he turned his camera more this way, so you can totally see. He probably can see me with the peripheral of that camera all day. My pole is straightened up right there, which I just threw that up just to be a dick, but it's straightened up when it was leaning way over there. So I'm pretty sure he touched my shit. But anyways, what dumbass drama? Just dumb shit. Malibu. Oklahoma Cutlass. And then I have the candyish colored Cutlass in the garage with the billets on it. Waiting on the back brake kit. And then the 442 that I just did is in there. He says he's gonna pick it up this weekend, or he might buy the gearbox, the Jeep steering shaft, and a newer steering column, and then I can put that in. So I'm waiting to hear back from him on that. The big Chevy on the 32s, Kenny Mac, his Chevy, I got his spindles inside. I'm gonna lengthen the spindles because that car rides a little jacked up in the front and it keeps cracking the control arm. But anyways, I'm trying to get that Cutlass. Dude, something in here keeps making noise and I can't figure it out. Something keeps clicking. I'm gonna have to double check what the fuck that is. But yeah, that Cutlass is in there, boom. If he tells me he's gonna get me that stuff, send it here, I'll be able to change all that for him real fast. Gearbox, you know, taking the steering gearbox off because it got play in it. The steering shaft, you gotta take the steering shaft out, take the gearbox out. You gotta take the steering shaft out to take the steering column out. So, the second that Cutlass is out of there, I'll be able to have the other Chevy come. I know I got a lot of other people waiting. I know a lot of you guys waiting. A lot of people are Facebook messaging don't work for me. I delete that shit. That's opening a can of worms. IG messages. I mean, just the other day I deleted the Timothy Burgoyne page, my main page for Facebook, because I got the Better Up page too. But I deleted all of the messages, and there was over 1,000 messages in there, and most of them were still lit up blue. And we're talking about, you know, they went back to like the end of 23. But recently, you know, a lot of people, oh man, check your messenger, oh check your messenger, oh check your messenger. I put up more posts saying, you know, I don't check them messages. I don't fuck with Messenger. IG Messenger, I don't even fuck with that shit. Opening that is like opening a can of worms. I am custom suspension and frame fabrication. So anything to do suspension wise, that's what I do. I don't do paint. I don't do interiors. I don't do motors. I can suggest, you know, if you got a small block, you know, I can suggest a cam, stall, you know, stuff like that. I do gears, obviously. So at the same time, me doing your rear end, stuff like that, I can do the gear. So sometimes you can win with doing more because you're paying less in labor, because everything has to be opened up at that time anyways. Rear end, you got to open it up to put disc brakes on. You got to open it up if you're narrowing it, you know. So at the same time, you can do the gear. So if you get everything ready, rigid axle is a good place to get your gear sets, and you do the true track style posi. So you want the true track style posi because it's got all gears in it and no clutches. But you get the gear, the bearing kit, and the true track style posi. This wind is probably cutting into my phone, but you get all that. So that's the place to get that. Willwood brakes you can get anywhere. The only time that you guys want big brakes, like the only purpose to big brakes for me is it's just saying that, oh, I got big brakes. If you got good brakes, that 442 that's sitting in the garage has 4 piston Willwoods all the way around it. So however that rotor comes out, 11.8812, whatever the hell it is. That car, you fly down the street and you get on the brakes, the car stops. You touch the brake pedal and the car stops. So as long as your brake system works and works properly, you're not gonna have a problem. So basic Willwood stuff, yes, the 4 piston looks pretty small on the front. They're tiny. So the basic 6 piston is the way that I would go on the front. But as long as everything works properly. Boom. Dude, what the hell am I hearing in here? Something is clicking. So, I mean, I give out information. I've been giving out information for years. Like I said, even back in the day with Midwest Street Riders Forum, I used to be on there. It was Bankroll 77, and I used to give out so much information. Pictures, anywhere I could put pictures of all the work that I've done all these years. Like I said, I started Better Up Customs in 2006. The second I seen this big rim stuff, I knew that I was gonna do it, and I wanted to do it, and I started doing it. And everybody told me it was a joke, that it would never take off, it would never be this, it would never be that. And when I started doing race car suspension setups and getting the cars to hook, and when I started talking about it, I was told by everybody. And then there's people that are doing it now that were people that were against it back then, and then frame bracing. 100% in the Chicagoland area, that's where I'm at. I was the first one to frame brace. I was the first one to notch frame rails in the back, properly notch frame rails in the front for turning, but frame bracing, narrowing rear ends for big blips, mini tubbing. And I mean, come on, I've been around since 2006. When I first started, we were still putting the cars up in the air, way up in the air. No cutting to the body, stuff like that, making them sit up. And our cars, my cars, whatever, we could fly down the highway. We didn't have a problem. Our shit wasn't bouncing all over the place. The suspensions worked. They traveled properly. But G-bodies. Clocking the calipers to clear the frame, stuff like that. You know, I had somebody that I did look up to, and I would ask questions like, hey man, what if we do this, da da da, and he would just be like, why? It's fucking stupid, fucking dumb, why, whatever, oh. So then I started clocking calipers to clear the frame. You know, why get a car done, this and that, then push the car up and down, and the calipers hitting the frame, then you turn around, and that's how I learned. You turn around, and you C-notch the frame for the caliper, but now you're making the back part of the frame weak for C-notching for just the caliper clearance. So you're narrowing the rear end anyways, so you're right there. When you go to put the end back on, you have the degree wheel right there. Your rear end set at 90, at 0, whatever, on the bench, this and that, or in the car, and you rotate that end. You double check your measurement, you make sure your measurement's there. You see with the degree wheel, if you degreed it at 35 degrees, 40 degrees, 22, whatever you degree to, then you're able to go right to the other side. You tack that one on, you go right to the other side, you mark it the same, you put the degree wheel on there, and you do the same degree, so that way the calipers sit exactly the same. I've seen cars with one caliper hanging real low and the other side be almost straight because they welded the end on too fast, this and that. I pay attention to this shit because this is what I do. So, but yeah, the bracing underneath, how I do the brace, where other people put it straight across. I do the brace on an angle. People say, oh, it doesn't do nothing, and it doesn't, you know. This car right here, 24s, this and that. Are you guys going to the track? Are you guys going to the track every day? Can't figure out what this clicking is. I think it's a breaker inside the box. I'm gonna have to investigate that. In the electrical panel in the shop. But are you going to the track every day? Are you putting slicks on it or this and that? No, you're on the street, you're spinning. All these people that talk shit about 7.5 rear ends, not everybody has 9-inch money. Not everybody needs a 9-inch in their car. And then people are always like, oh man, you can get the quick performance 9 with the brake kit for $2,000, this and that. Okay, so you get a housing and axles and a brake kit for $2,000, $2,100, whatever. Now you got to buy the pig. So now with buying the pig, did the housing come with just 28 spline axles? Okay, so there's a weak spot again, even though they're aftermarket axles. Now, if you buy the pig, are you buying the one with the 28 spline pinion or the 35 spline pinion? So there's people out there with the basic shit. So the basic shit costs this low number. Now when you get into the bigger shit, now you're into a rear end for 4,500 bucks. You take that 7.5, yeah, I put the drop boxes on there. That's when we got the drop boxes. If you can upgrade a 7.5 from the stock 26 spline axles to 28 spline axles. If you're narrowing the rear end, you're getting aftermarket axles. So bump it up to 28 spline. You're doing a center section, true track posi, you're doing a gear, this and that. You bump the center to 28 spline. So now you're running 28 spline, aftermarket axles, true track style posi. You got good control arms. The good control arms and good shocks, you know, coilovers, you're not going to have rear end hop. Rear end hop is the #1 thing that breaks 26 spline G-body axles and 26 spline box Chevy axles is rear end hop. If you start to do a burnout and your rear end starts hopping, that is rear end hop. So think about that. The tire comes off the ground, hits the ground, off the ground, hits the ground, bam. You're putting so much stress on that axle, you shear the axle by the splines inside closer to the rear end. A lot of people have done it. If you don't have disc brakes, then your wheel and axle comes out, and if you're not paying attention, that comes out, and then it's rotating faster, so when it catches, it bam, the tire slams into the side of the car. You end up with your car dented. Years ago when I was young, I had a 77 two-door Chevy Caprice. That's my car. I've always had 77, 78, 79 two-door box Chevys. I had one, did a burnout, and something didn't sound right. Then I got pushed around the corner, and next thing you know, my right wheel came out, wham, tire hit the body. My car was dragging down the road sideways because I broke the splines. So yeah, 7.5, upgraded a little bit. The big Chevy that I'm talking about with the 32s on it, says Kenny Mac on it. That one, the one that was blue before, it's got the 4Gs. The rim is like a goldish. That car, It's got a big block. Big block's got a lot of torque. That car has in it 7.5 rear end. It's got 32s on it. It's got Moser aftermarket 28 spline axles. It's got, I'm pretty sure that one has a true track in it. That car will do rolling burnouts. Just roll and hit it. Yeah, it's a 496 big block Chevy, this and that. The rear end has not broken axle yet. And I done plenty of burnouts in the car. My kid done burnouts in the car. And we'll have the car here. Like I said, once that cutlass leaves, we'll have the car here. And I'll show you guys it's got 7.5 in it. And the upper ears on the housing, the rubber bushings are jacked up on it. The rear end moves. So I gotta replace that too. We're gonna put some spiracles in that. Or maybe just some new high energy suspension ones, something. But that car's gonna get new double adjustable control arms, or it might already have them. I know we're putting anti-roll and stuff like that, so we can tuck the back down on that too. But anyways, Malibu, I'm gonna get on the lift. Hopefully I gave you guys some more information right there. Kept you in tune, staying in tune with the YouTube. I'm trying to keep these videos going, recording everything that I do and trying to explain everything the best that I can. And yes, I still gotta get a mic. I'm so busy with this and that and trying to organize everything, I'll be forgetting. But yeah, I need to get a mic so that I can put a mic on my shirt, so that way, I mean, I breathe hard anyways because I'm a fat ass. Imagine how much more you guys are gonna hear then. Like, man, why you breathing so hard, bro? I'm not that bad. I'm down to 248. So I've been hitting the weights just a little bit, trying to, do something, burn myself out so that way I can sleep better. But no, I feel better, wake up better. But yeah. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get this on the lift. I'll be back. All right, y'all. We got the 81 Landau Malibu on the lift. And we have the cross brace, cross member for the anti-roll, cross member for the coilovers, and the billet anti-roll, which is the thicker links, the half-inch joints, and the solid billet ends. I don't use that 3/8 stuff, y'all. I don't use that 3/8 stuff. But you have a 12 bolt, okay? 12 bolt. That's 30 spline axle rear end. It's 8.8 ring gear. So you guys out there, if you can find a 12 bolt, you don't want to spend the money on a 9-inch because you really don't need a 9-inch. If you're on the street spinning tires, 8.5 would do you just fine. But you can find a 12 bolt. Look at the cover. Look at how many bolts. Look at how the cover is. Chevelles, 60, 68. I'm not sure about 67. Probably 67 too. 68, 69, 70, 71, 72. Chevelles, stuff like that. But yeah, so this one I talked about before. This has got the thick 11-hole brackets. And this one over here, bowed, you can see the bow in it. Welded, tack welded on. Then this at the bottom, as I was welding down, it popped. And then I just kept welding. So this one's got a little bow to it. But you see the washers inside there to shim it. Because you want to shim it to start with. So when I first put it on, I put a washer on that side and a washer on that side. Those are the washers that are supposed to be on the outside that come with the kit. But these, we were never supposed to use the 11-hole solids. But anyways, it worked out. Like that again. I didn't know what car. I mean, I knew what car, knew what rear end, this and that. I wanted him to have plenty of adjustments so he could bolt it all up himself. So he put the rear end in himself. This one might have been the second rear end I did for him because obviously it's got the tow hooks on it. And then his black car, I put the tow hooks on. 1 5/8 tube for bracing. The boxes, I do believe it's 36 inches in between here. So again, this point out on both sides. I just want to hear my cat crying. A distance from here all the way out, and the distance you set this box, set the other one the same. They're on a little bit of an angle. They're almost straight, which straight, fine, angle, fine, whatever. Where this is set up, when you put The shock in there, straight up, you got just enough room to have the bolt. So when I did the black car like this, I measured it all out. And the way this was set up, I ended up running these lower. Obviously, we wanted to set the car down more. So that was able to do that. We got, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 bolt holes we can go down to bring that on. So it's probably going to end up at the bottom for how we're going to lower it and how the cross brace is going to go across. So you can see that shock goes back a little bit. So when I cut the pocket out, I'll be able to set that cross brace. So the coilover might lean back more. I have a set of long tabs that are Viking shock tabs. I'll go over here to show you. Where did I just put that box? Oh, right here. Sure. Okay, this is Viking, and these are the longer ones. They have a curve in it, so the curve goes downwards. So if this was on the left, or right, you want the curve to the bottom. Then you can fully weld it and bevel the edges, and it helps weld them. Got 2 bolts right there, but he does have bolts in there. And they're Viking, so it already has a solid joint in it. Let's see, do I have a set of short tabs? Let's see through all my stuff right here. I don't have a set of short tabs, so it's gonna get the long tabs, and that's fine. It'll work just fine. Artist wheels, floaters. It's got a posi in it, and this one 373, I think, is what we went with. I just jumped down it in the driveway. The car was backed up. I let the car sit here and run. I was blowing out the garage, blowing out the shop. It was dirty. So when I got in it, I juiced it that way. So I mean, it was like, just spinning a little bit. I forget which motor is in this one. I think that's just a small block car. Yeah, that's just a small block car. The other one's the LS car. I got an LS in it. High torque main starter. That's probably like an LT1 starter. Feels like it probably could use a little more stall, but it's a nice little cruiser. It's got a little thump 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 to the exhaust. So yeah, it's got flow masters on it. Let's see how long that is. So that's a 3-chamber flow. So that's probably, what do you want to say, a 50 series, 60 series, something like that. 40 series is shorter. So that's taking a little more of the cha-ching away. Last time I had it in here, I adjusted all of this, squared up the rear end to make sure nothing came on loose, which, I mean, the car hasn't been driven. So that was just, what, a month or so ago, a couple months ago. So yeah, I'm leaning from side to side. He says he got a steep driveway on an angle. But you know what that anti-roll does? That anti-roll holds that together. So yeah, I'm gonna take it back down and I'm gonna measure it first. I think this one's like 29. From ground up to a quarter, I think this one's like 29 and something. 29 and a quarter, 29 and a half. So I'll be able to tuck it down. I'll probably end up tucking this one a little bit more than the black one. But yeah. Alright, let me get to it. I was just out there cutting the grass. I like to cut the grass like I told you I heard the cat crying. Look at him. He's been everywhere today. I like to keep the grass cut low. And then see that line right there? That line is on purpose. I'm not cutting that anymore. I want that back section right there. Get nice and healthy. You know what I'm saying? And somebody's got to stare at it. But yeah, no. The way the roots are in the yard right here, the drops, that's where the septic tank is in here, and then the veins go out. So those sections end up growing faster and thicker. So you gotta cut it slower and cut it a lot more so you can see how there's low spots. But I got the lawnmower all the way down. I like it though. All right, back to this Malibu. Let me get to taking it apart, get these wheels out the back, and I'll jump right back on here with you. All right, y'all. Look at this. Got the coilovers out. Oh yeah, coilovers are out. There's the left one. There's the stock bracket. Look at that spider wheel. The stock setup that was in there to bolt into the stock shock area. Now, could we have left it with being bolted stock area? Yeah, I don't, you know, there's not really anything wrong with that. But when you want to put an anti-roll on, and you want the cross brace up in there, perfect. G-bodies, all day long, G-bodies have plenty of room. Look how much room we got up in here. Plenty of room for an overmount anti-roll. I said it before, say it again. G-bodies should not be coming out with an undermount anti-roll, and you see you'd be mounting in here. Now, can you do it? If you really want to do it, you could do it. And you know how it bolts to here or welds to here, but this is a thin area, so I've seen cars already break this area, and I like to build the area up. You know, I'll plate it before I weld the setup to it. Anyways, oh look at that little rusty rust. The paint didn't hold up too good. Oh my God, the weld, did it hold up? So, yeah. Anyways, coilovers are off. Gonna cut them pockets out of there. So, just take the cutoff wheel and I get as close as I can here. So this way, you know, because you use the right side of the cutoff wheel. So this one cuts pretty good, you know. This way, you know, get up in here, cut, and you can somewhat meet over here, and then you clean it all up with the grinder. But then, when you're on this side, and you're using a cutoff wheel, you gotta use the left side of the blade, and the left side of the blade is the crazy side because you're digging into the metal as you're going over. So you gotta take your time and cut it slow. That's why the paddles, this is the battery one, but anyways, how it's got the paddle trigger is what you want. You don't want that click style where you know, click it, then it locks on, and then if you catch it up in there. But no matter what, make sure you're like wearing gloves, welding gloves, sleeves, so that way if it does catch and bite and bang, make sure you have eye protection on, even a full face shield. All the years of doing this, man, yeah, make sure you protect yourself. But yeah, we're gonna get that cut, cleaned up, and then we got the mild steel. Any of you guys ordering this stuff yourself, when you guys ask me, I tell you, tell Alex Tree Chassis, mild steel. You want the thick stuff, so it's like 130 thousandths, whatever, 100 and something thousandths, but heavy, mild steel. Let's see what I got over here. Let's see what this one is. Oh, this one's mild steel too. That's my solid narrowing bar for the rear ends. But anyways, you don't want mild, or you don't want chromoly. I mean, I can weld chromoly with a MIG because I know to not overheat it and get a nice bead to it. The better the fitment, the better the weld. And then, you know, you cut this length and then bevel. Take the grinder and bevel this whole edge around there. Then when you put it up in the car, you'll be able to, you know, the weld will fill into there instead of having this flat edge on it. Yeah, all right, y'all. 12 bolt, 81 Malibu. Somebody was saying about the taillights. Yeah, that one looks fairly new. That one's dark. So, I don't know what the deal is there. This one has a VIN number on it. 4691. That one don't have one on it. So, however that goes. But, I don't know if anybody remanufactures these taillights nowadays. I mean, they should. I mean, 81. That taillight And that quarter extension, 78 to 81 all day. And then the 81 and newer body will keep that in the 4-door. That's a nice looking taillight, very nice looking taillight. I do pay attention to a lot of stuff. And then yeah, that's not my frame notch. It's not my frame notch, y'all. The anti-roll will help with this, but I will tap this in some more. I'll probably adjust the rear end forward a little bit more. This side has the same mark here. Boom. This rear end, I forget what it is. That's 3/4 right there. So that's 1.5 inches of spacing, 3-inch stud. Got ET lug nuts. Again, the rear end, I built the rear end and we went off some basic measurements off of this and off of that, blah, blah. I don't even think when I did it, he had the wheels yet. Then he put the rear end under the car, then he ordered the wheels. However, this car is set up for a 7-inch lip. So a 7-inch lip wheel can go right on here and you just take the spacers off. And they're the all-star spacers. And I'm about to sneeze. Woo! Good Lord. Thank you. But yeah, all right. Let me get this cross brace up in here. But I've been having a lot of fun with all the BS I'm dealing with out here. Them trees used to be full, completely full on that side. This guy didn't have to look at me. This guy didn't have to see anything that I had going on. But now, he wants to have the camera out front right there. And he wants to have this camera back here. I started cleaning up the shit that I put there because, you know, whatever. I'm still gonna take that out, but somebody was saying about those tall, I forget what the name of the bushes are, but they're like tall and skinny. You buy them at like 5 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot. I don't have to have a permit in order to put those in, so I can just dig me some holes, put like 5 or 6 of them in. But in order to do the privacy fence out here, to do a privacy fence, you can go 10 foot tall, and I'll go 10 foot tall. So you gotta have a permit, but the permit ain't shit. You can go around on the line and do it, or you can go in person and do it. So I hate to lose the view. I do like the view. I do like the sound of the traffic. I mean, you move out to the country. Some people move out to get away from the stuff, but I find that to be peaceful, and what can you do about it? People have to commute. But for this guy next door to just cry and cry and cry and cry about everything, I mean, what's his purpose? What's his purpose? All right, y'all. I'm on it. Anyways, my point to that is he called the county on me about running a business out of my house. Well, it's not incorporated, so have fun with that one, buddy. I already talked to him. I know he watches all my shit too. He told them about my Facebook and stuff like that. Think about that. Takes a day off from work, or hours off from work, to just go into the county and complain and this and that. I mean, what is really going on in life? Your life is that boring that you gotta stir shit up. All right, y'all, I'm having fun. Wrap it up. I'm on it. I'll be back. Yo. Back with Tim, back at it. I got the shock pockets cut out, cleaning up this side. They're somewhat symmetrical. One's a little cut farther back more, whatever. Before you cut it, and I'll use the 4-inch wheel. I haven't been using the 6-inch wheels in a long time, so I've been using the 4.5-inch. I found the whole box on, I only used DeWalt. Found the whole box on Amazon. You know what, since I'm talking about it, might as well just 7/8 arbor. Here's the box right here. We got DW8062Z 4.5 .045 7/8 arbor. Come in packs of, packs of 25. Packs of 25 goes 100 in this box. The 4.5s, you get in a lot more places. And of course, you can't run the guard. There's no way to run the guard and be able to do this stuff. Paddles, so you want the DeWalt with the paddle, with the lock. You don't want that click switch shit. But then you gotta be careful, sometimes the spring will fall out of them. I had one do it, so not all the time, but these are about 100, 110 bucks. 11,000 RPM. Yeah, see, 11,000 RPM. The weight to them is nice, and how you hold this. You know, you got. Just be careful. Always cut with the right side of the blade. But then sometimes you have to get up in areas like, that's what I was saying right here, that to get to this one, you got to use the left side. So start from the top and cut downwards, and just take your time, take your time, take your time. Don't twist and bind the blade, and then go roll right off the bottom. Right when you get to the last little edge that's about to cut off, just hold it with both hands. I like to wear my welding gloves. These are TIG welding gloves. I like to use these better, but with my sleeves. So that way, if it does slip, you ain't fucking yourself up too much. You know, little cuts and scrape going through these ain't bad compared to, you know, the big nasty cuts and all these years. You know, I still got them all. They don't work that good, but still got them. So yeah, that side I'm cleaning up a little more. This side over here, I cleaned the lip off the bottom. But I'm leaving this so that way when I set where I gotta set, I want to get this cross member up as high as I can right here. And then I can always go from the outside in to get a little more weld on the top. This piece right here that's left is pretty thick. But the main focus, as long as you got 3/4 of that tube welded on there good, you shouldn't have a problem. I haven't had a problem all these years. And of course, like I said, I could use the mild seal all day, obviously, and then I can also MIG weld the chromoly in these and not have them crack, because you just can't put a lot of heat. So the better fitment, the faster you do the weld. But yeah, all right, so I'm gonna finish cleaning this side up. I stood the mirror end exactly where it was hanging, so put the level across the bumper. Most of the time, the way I got the lift set, the lift legs on this side, I got them twisted up a little bit. Everything comes out level, but I will double check the level of the bumper, go underneath the frame rails back here, check that, see if the bumper and that's different. Whatever it ends up being, axle tubes end up, you know, being bent a little bit, whatever. So as long as you're within, when you put that cross brace up and then that cross brace is reading level, you're good. But sometimes you have to adjust the anti-roll a little more on one side than the other side. You know, none of these cars are perfect. You know, people were saying that with the GN, and how I was talking about bolt on, and so many people were like, oh yeah, bolt on, you just bolt on, but then you gotta drill holes and this and that. And over the years, you don't know if a tow truck grabbed that stock lower control arm box and, you know, pulled it and it tweaked it and shit like that. So yeah, I was just making a point that there's just so many people like, oh, bolt-on's way better than weld-on. And some people don't know the difference, and obviously then people just don't know what the hell they're talking about. I try to teach, and if I am explaining something wrong, correct me. Get on there, make the comments, whatever, correct me. Be like, hey, Tim, oh, this and that, blah, blah. And then, of course, facts, checks, shit like that, blah, blah. Custom fabrication is custom fabrication. If you're cutting and measuring and welding, it's custom fabrication. There's no handbook to this shit. What everybody's done from day one, YouTube and stuff like that, what do? You go on YouTube, you look at some shit. If you got some common knowledge with stuff and you know how to weld and this and that, then you're figuring out stuff. People that show welding on a flat piece of brand new metal, and they're like, oh yeah, look at that. That's not proving nothing. Taking 2 pieces of thick metal and like a piece of angle iron, laying it down and welding them inside the groove or inside the bend, that's not proving nothing. Take that brand new piece of metal and go in here and weld to this, and you got the brand new metal. That too is way thicker, way newer than this old metal. So knowing how to burn it in and penetrate both pieces, penetrate. Yeah, there's some other you guys out there listening like that word, penetrate. Like the neighbor over here, he probably wants to get penetrated. All right, y'all, I'm climbing. But yeah, let me get back to it. I'm gonna get this cross brace up in there, get this anti-roll set together, figure out where I'm gonna mount it, depending on if I put the cross brace farther forward, then I can come off the front of it and come down and come to the front of these tubes. If I mount it back farther, I end up being a little lower, and then the shocks being in front of the tube, you know, tube here, so the shock being in front. I do have short tabs and long tabs. I mean, I have a set of short tabs in a kit. But anyways, yeah, I'll get it up in there and get right back to you. I know you guys love them spacers. Let me hear it. Let me hear about them spacers, y'all. I'll be back. Yo. All right. Got the cross member up in there. Got the anti-roll tacked up in there. I do have the cross member fully welded, except for that outside top, but I'll be able to get that when I bring the car downside. Coilover tabs. Like I said, I did find a set of short ones, so the short tabs right there. I wanted to keep the anti-roll back so it clears the pumpkin, which there's plenty of room there. Center line, a straight line there. Measurements and all that stuff. Make sure everything's good. Everything is within 3/16 of an inch, depending on how these cores were put on. The axle tubes over time being bent, the way all these brackets were put on, blah, 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 blah. But it all squared up within 3/16. So it's in there. The shocks are all set up, which, you know, I didn't change this. I didn't change the height of this. So the ride and all that stuff's gonna be the same. I twisted the rear end up a little bit compared to where it was when I took everything apart, due to getting these tabs. I didn't want them, let's see if I can see this. I didn't want them, you never want the shock to be up against here. This collar, you never want it to be up against here. That causes a bind, and then it actually flexes the shock, you know, it doesn't let it travel properly. So with angling them back, you know, then I could have went on the front, but then I had to move the bar back more. Going on a back angle like this doesn't have a problem because it travels up and down. This way, I always just do a little, very, very, very little lean. So it's 3 1/8 from outside of frame to the center of shock. Same thing on that side. So that keeps that centered up, squared up, boom. This car already had the rear end squared up to the body, to the car, whatever. So it'd be exactly the same as it was because I already had all that set before. Like I said, this rear end was set to where it will take a bigger lip rim. And it has that on there now. So you can put a bigger lip, a 7-inch lip rim would go on the back of the car. The way it is, with, you know, taking the spacers off. But yeah, now I can take this all back out, fully weld everything, then paint it, and then I'll be able to set it down. Like, once again, it's not my frame notch, but this rub mark here I'm gonna move the rear end forward a little bit. So, I mean, this was mainly showing this because it had no anti-roll. And when you go into inclines, driveways, shit like that, makes the rear end lean. When the rear end leans, it pushes this side back, pushes that side forward, boom, rubs. So this side really hasn't been flexed for shit. So I'll flex that some more. Flex it a little bit right there, bro. But we have the anti-roll now, so it won't rub as hard. This side actually has, oh no, it's not a hole, but however they did the knob. So this side, same thing, I'll tap, 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 roll all this. Yeah, because it's nowhere near as far back as the other cars I've done. So, I'll get that. I think that's a light rub mark right there. But again, having no anti-roll. So I'll flex this a little bit too. But it should be fine. Should be fine. Oh, and I am doing ladder bar cross member in this car. So I'll be coming off of, this area right here. So I go 12 inches and I make my bend 2 3/4. And then, 12 inches, 2 3/4 bend. So it'll come down and it'll be under these mufflers. Not too far under. These are up there tight. So it'll be, it'll probably come within a 1/2 inch of them. Oh, this one looks lower than this one. And then tying into the torque boxes. So I'd have a tube from here into a ladder bar crossover. So it's gonna be a little tight to do the weld with this. So I'll probably make the bar come straighter instead of more of an angle. I'll go straighter. So that way I can get all the way around the tube. I have that, right there. That tube right there. And I'll bend it. And then I got some drops laying over there or something. I'll be able to tie into the torque boxes. But yeah, moving right along on the 81 Malibu. All right, I'll be back with some more work done. All right. Got the cross brace up in there. Got the shock tabs on it. Got some paint on it. It's matte black. It should dry lighter than that. Got the tabs on the rear end. I go up the inside of the tab. I go all the way down both sides of the tab. The tabs up here, you can never really get all the way up top. So you get as far as you can. But I do on the inside too. It's not the prettiest. The welder today, I ended up, when I put these on, I ended up turning up to C. Normally I don't have to go past B, but maybe it's just an excuse. But I booted it up real good. But it was penetrating. Penetration is key. Not too bad. You see the spitting? Whenever you turn it up to B, it's like the wire. I think I got to get one of those little wire cleaners that hooks inside the machine, and it, as the wire goes through it, it cleans the wire. But I mean, the car wasn't that clean. The pipes, sitting out here, the moisture. I scuffed them up a little bit. All right, that part is done. Waiting for that to dry. I have the tube on the floor for the ladder bar crossover. Like I said, put the level down, draw you a line. Now you have your line. Then I'm gonna go in 12 inches, make my mark. I'll be able to put it in the bender. Okay, so you got your center mark right there. So the 12 inch, like I said, 12 inch mark, bink. Put the tube in here, then you got the line here, you center the tube, you do the bend. Now when you transfer over to do that side, you have the line on there, and then you do the same exact thing. So that way you keep the pipe, the tube, when you lay it back on the floor with the bends in it, it's not on the floor rocking, it's straight. So draw you a line on your pipe, on your tube, and then, like I said, mark your bender right when you lock. Yes, this bender puts crushes in the tube. Like I said, none of this stuff has to be approved and HRA certified and this and that. It's a street car, bracing torque box and stuff like that. But yeah, draw you some lines, well, I drew the line on that, so then I could mark from there forward, get my measurements. Drew the center line on anti-roll. So, you know, you find center by whatever, wherever you want to mark. Outside, you find center. Inside, whatever center. Make your center, boom. Your tube up in there, your center. Which how I made it, so that way when you hold it up in there and tack it on, and it's a pain in the ass to do by yourself. So you gotta get the weld and everything ready, hold it up there and get it where you want, line up all the lines, and then tack it. But yeah, on to the next step. I'm gonna let this dry, but I'm going to bend that tube right now, get that ready to go in. I'll be back. All right, y'all. Oh, check this out. Conveniently today, the wind is blowing hard as hell to the south, and this dude's out here grading with his fence line and stuff, causing all that dust and dirt. My son and wife are out there washing his car, so this dude's doing it more. Anyways, all right. So I got the ladder bar crossover in there, bent it. So I actually ended up using, this is 1.5 inches. That piece that I had over there was 1 5/8, but it was too short. So I had to use a piece of this in here, 1.5 inches, which the last one was 1.5 inches. So this is 1.5 inches, and this one right here, that's, I think it's a little bit smaller. I think this is 1 inch. It might be 1.5 inches too. But you know, bored it in. Angle cut right here. I did it a little different. These mufflers being so big, and see how close I am here. But that don't move. I mean, some of it burns nice. Oh, there's. But I don't hide nothing. I don't hide anything, you know. The size, I just filled them in. But it's welded. Really good. This bend, I thought at first I could just do 2.5 inches, but it was touching the muffler still, so, and it's still pretty hot. So I did 2 3/4 just like last time, so 12 inches. I think the bar is 47. I think it's 47 inches long. 12 inches is the bend, and then I bend it at 2 3/4. I know I've showed it before, but maybe somebody else didn't see that part of the video, or they skipped it. Draw the line on there, boom, put it in this. I mean, anybody can get one of these benders, and I've set this bender's been at the same exact setting. I have all the other dies and everything to it, but all this has been in here, and it's been set at the 4th hole from the right, bam. It's been set like this forever. And you know, you got the lines right here, you got the lines right there. And when I pump it, like I said, I measure from here. Let's take the tape measure. And I measure, you know, from the bottom like that up to the line that I marked right here. So that way you do it, you know, both sides at 2 3/4, and it doesn't hang down too low. So even if you did it with 1 5/8. So for you guys at home that want to do this stuff yourself, you know, I'm not perfect. I've never said I was perfect. I'm not trying to be this big house brand name, this and that. I mean, I have been doing it since 2006, and people do know better than Kustoms, so, and that's me. But again, I was told all this stuff in the beginning. Oh, it's stupid, it's dumb. Why would you do that? All big rims are stupid and dumb. Oh, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. All right, this is dry. The matte, a little shinier than the what's the other one that I use? Semi-flat. So, I'm gonna bolt this up and set it down, and I'm gonna go ahead and set it all the way down, see how it sits, and go up from there. But yeah, so I'm gonna bolt The coilover's in here. There's a dude over here making a dusty. He's done it like 80 times now. And he had his case out here earlier, making all kinds of dust and dirt and smirking while he's doing it. Anyways, alright, I'm gonna bolt this stuff up and I'll be back. Yo, look at that. It's tucking on the lift. Only way to do it, like I said years ago. If you're tucking on the lift, and you know you tucking. Now, like I said, I put it all the way at the bottom, and I'm gonna set it down and see if I gotta move it. But everything's in there, everything's tight. I don't have these jammed yet until I figure out if it's gonna sit exactly how it sat before, level. I can tell at this angle the pinion is up a little bit, real close back here. And it did have rub marks on this frame notch that somebody else did. So we're gonna see how close that's gonna get. But what I'm saying is that I have all that room to come forward and bring the pinion angle down. So I would have to shorten the uppers. So shortening the uppers will take the rear end and twist the rear end like this, which would actually push the shock up because the holes are down there. So bring the ass end up too. So if it's too low right now, the first thing I'm gonna do is look at the pinion angle on the ground. And then if I gotta shorten the uppers to bring the wheel forward, and then that'll give me a little more height. Because we know in the door right there, it's gonna go down at least 2 inches. So we're gonna be tucking hard. With no tubs. No mini tub. All right, let me put it down. I'll show you guys on the ground. But man, doesn't that look raw, doesn't it? All right, I'm gonna set it down. You ready? All right, y'all. Do you think it's tucking? Do you think it's tucking? Look in the background. See that trick chassis? See that Chicago flow? Yeah. See that stoplight? But is it tucking? Booyah! Yeah, it's tucking. The only problem is that the frame notch that's on here that somebody else did, the tires are touching the back of the frame notch. This is a 250 spring, so this thing's got a box in it and the subs in it. And the wheel, you can see they enlarged the wheel when they did it, the bodywork. But I can move the rear end forward a little bit by shortening the upper control arms just that little bit. So I think I'm gonna move those a little bit. The bad part is I can put my hand up in front of the tire because I already knew it was touching back there just by looking underneath it. But I put my hand up behind there and it's actually on the tub in there. Whoever originally did the notch, they didn't sit there and tap the tubs in. Like I said, this car's got 3-inch studs, 1/2-inch 20, and it has 2 1/2-inch or 2 3/4 spacers on there because we did set it up to where he could put a fatter lip. I know I already said that in this video a couple times, but a lot of people like to skip through this and that. I gotta measure from the ground up, see what that's reading. So also, when I move it up, the coilovers, I want to move up because I put them all the way. I left them all the way at the bottom. I haven't moved it. So I'm gonna put that up. I would have probably been fine at the holes that I left it. I left it with 3 holes at the bottom, and that would have been probably perfect. Tuck in a little bit and still be able to drive without rubbing. Like right there, I mean, the car moves just a hair, but of course it's gonna rub. But dude didn't want it this low anyways. That's a hell of a tough. But all right, I'm gonna take it back up and I'm gonna measure it first. I'm gonna take it back up. I'm gonna shorten up the uppers a little bit because of the pinion angle, and that'll raise up a little bit, and we'll go from there. So I still gotta paint the ladder bar cross member. Right. So, take it out, adjust it, and paint that. I'll be done. All right. Adjusted the uppers 1/4 of an inch shorter. Oh yeah. Everything's still straight up and down. I mean, these, you know, I put a little bit of an angle in at the top. Just painted the ladder bar cross member and tied into the torque boxes. Now, oh yeah, and then I went up from the bottom hole. 1, 2, 3. I went up 3 holes. So it should sit. Now it should sit exactly where I want it. So I'm gonna set it down and I'm gonna push the back up and down, make sure that it goes up and down. I was at 27 1/4 before from ground up, but this was the other thing, is that the stubber, the way the pinion angle was before, I'm pretty sure it was very close to the rubber stubber, but I did feel back here was touching on the back of the tub. Again, not my frame notch. All right, set it down. Now, I still got to jam the anti-roll, but when I set it down before, it could have been being held up by the body. When I measured it, this time I'm gonna set it down, measure it again. If there's any discrepancy from side to side, I mean, it did have quarters put on it, so that could be toned off, but I'll measure the front and I'll measure the back and see if it's off more. If the back's off, the front's gonna be off. So I'll get it within. You know, ain't nobody gonna be out there with a tape measure to be able to see it from a mile away. The car ain't gonna be doing 3-wheel motion, you know what I'm saying? Sitting in one spot. Little discrepancies here and there. But, all right, let me set it back down and get right back to you. All right, so yeah, that helped. It helped out a lot. It's got travel. It doesn't hit anything. Shock still got the same settings I had before, but I just came up those 2 holes and shortened those uppers that 1/4 inch. So front is 30 from ground up to bottom of fender lip right there is 30, and the back is 27 and a half. I'm pretty sure it was 27 and a half. But it works just like that. So now I'm gonna take it up and bolt it up and jam the anti-roll, because everything is level. Front's level, back's level, side to side. Put the bolts on the bottom of the coilover setup. Everything else is tight. Jam those anti-roll links. And I think I got a little bit of daylight left. I can pull it outside. All right, y'all, I'll be right back. All right, there it is, y'all. Set it up, 24 pounds, anti-roll, ladder bar, cross member, torque box brace, 81 Landau, 9 dudes. Ooh, I just felt a couple raindrops. That sounds about to take it down to the street and back. I mean, obviously I don't rise, because I drove it before. You drove it before. Ready to go. Call the owner. This trailer is sitting in the front of my driveway. He'll be able to come get it tomorrow. All right. Yeah, get him to do a little drive, come back, something. Be right back. Again, this one is not my frame notch or anything in the front. I just did all the back stuff and put shock on it, I think, in the front. I'm going to turn it around and and plastic wheel wells and stuff like that. We're going to be turning to the left. This one I get it. I think just a little bit. right tail light. I think that right tail light is like some type of a tinted tail light. Go! Driving down the road, turn around, that was it. One of those times of the day where a little bit of trim. See the front camera too, you guys? That post right there to my left. Got a camera on it too. But all right, cool. That one done.